Hello, everyone.
Hey.
The fans were here, Cameron, Cody. In honor of Avengers Infinity War coming out this weekend, we are going to do our top 10 MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, not including Avengers Infinity War, although we have seen it.
Yeah.
But we are not including that in this countdown, but expect we will have a review for that up very shortly. So let's just get right to it. Yeah. Should we do our dishonorable mention? Should we talk about our least favorite?
Yeah, we can do that. We want to preference that this was extremely hard to make.
Yeah.
These
for me, there's like 2 at the top and like a few at the bottom, and then all the rest in the middle just kind of were like.
Yeah, the middle area is really hard. I mean, it's 18 films you're just stacking up.
Yeah.
So this is hard. So this is. I mean, tomorrow my list might be different. But this right now, these are the 10 we have, not including Infinity War.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought into mine. I just kind of went like gun to my head. What do I pick? Like gut reaction. Yeah. So let's do our dishonorable.
Yeah.
Or bottom 2. We had a tie for last place. It was Iron Man 2 and
The Incredible Hulk.
And The Incredible Hulk, yes.
The Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk's my least favorite. It's just, I don't know, it's just a gut of a movie, I think.
Yeah,
it wasn't very interesting. I love Edward Norton, but it just...
I like Edward Norton a lot, but not as Bruce Banner, and especially it was like, after the Avengers, when you're like, oh my god, Mark Ruffalo is Bruce Banner, then it made it even like not as good as it even was before. Yeah. So it hasn't held up well either.
Yeah. It doesn't really feel a part of the universe that
well. It kind of feels like they were making it and they were like, oh yeah, we should probably like stick some Marvel, Avengers coming soon in here.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it felt. And then Iron Man 2 was just. I don't blame Jon Favreau for it. He was, after The Incredible Hulk, they were like, oh wow, we have something on our hands. Let's move forward. And I think he was just under the gun and had to put something together that started to set up the rest of this universe. And it wasn't as clean or as fresh.
And neither of these are like bad movies.
No,
not as good.
Not as good. Not as good as the rest. So I wouldn't call it either of them bad. I think they're pretty decent.
Yeah.
But not as good as like the other quality of the rest of them.
All right. Do you want to start?
I'll start. Yeah. So this is top 10. Number 10, we have Thor Ragnarok. Just came out last year. Now this film, another one I wasn't a huge fan of, that's actually above right of those 2, is Thor the Dark World. I didn't love Thor the Dark World. I thought it was pretty good, but there was something missing. And Thor Ragnarok, I thought, brought out that pump of just energy that the Thor franchise needed. And Thor Ragnarok is so lively, and it's so much fun, and Chris Hemsworth's just having the time of his life, and you can just tell that this is like, Thor is back, and he's whooping ass, and I loved this movie. It was so good. Definitely worthy, I think, of being on this list, in my opinion. I know you didn't like it as much. You didn't like it as much as I did, but...
Yeah, I actually prefer... I had Thor Ragnarok as my lowest of the Thor movies. I don't know, something about it just underwhelmed me, but it was still good.
Awesome.
Yeah, but he was definitely much higher on Thor Ragnarok than I was. But it's number 10.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number 9, and some people may think this is very low. Maybe.
It's hard to say. As I said, this is a hard list.
The Avengers.
Very first team up.
Yeah. To me, The Avengers was kind of hokey. Like, it was good, but it was like, oh, look at this group of superheroes, like, fighting bad guys.
When it came out,
there was no edge or...
No, I agree with you. And you hear that he's not a big fan of Loki either, so, that is the villain. He eye rolls Loki. But no, when it first came out, I was like, oh my god, this movie's like the greatest thing ever. And then
I didn't even love it.
I loved it at first, but as the franchise started pumping out and we started to get some more fresher things and we started to explore those characters a little better, I'm like, yeah, Avengers isn't as good as some of the other ones. It's still awesome. I mean,
it's good. It's
just all of them together for the first time. You know, you gotta.
It's like a novelty item.
Yeah,
Where you're like, oh, you know, like that was exciting, but like when you look back on it, it's not really. I don't think it's as substantial as you remember.
As some other entries in the franchise.
Yes. Yeah. And I just feel like characters have gotten so much more developed and over the course of the run.
Since then,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Number 8. Now I think this is kind of like how Thor Ragnarok was.
Yeah, I'm much higher on this than he.
Yeah, Captain America: Civil War is our number 8.
This was my number 3. I just love the scope of this movie. It has such a large scope. It's much more personal than a lot of the other ones because it's them versus each other rather than them versus like something that's going to destroy the universe, you know. But I like the way that it took the dynamics that we had in Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron and kind of flipped it on its head.
Yeah, that's the one thing that this movie does best is it takes every single pairing of all the Avengers and we're like, okay, how does this person feel about this person? How does this person... Everybody has a moment with each other and it examines everybody's relationships and that's the best part about this movie. I just felt like, especially now where we're at, that this film didn't have as many consequential events as I would have liked.
I don't really mind that though.
I don't know. Just felt going into this, everyone's like, "Oh, Civil War was like the greatest Marvel comic book storyline of all time." I just felt I was like underwhelmed with it a little bit. I felt like it wasn't a chapter in the franchise like I was expecting it to be. But it's still, I mean, it's still awesome. It's
and another thing,
superheroes fighting each other, and it's
another thing I really like about it is that it really like holds the Avengers accountable for like.
That's a good point.
The death of civilians, which you never see in superhero movies, like ever.
Yeah,
I guess you do in Batman v Superman. Yeah. Lol lol lol. Little. Yeah. But this did it much better.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Number 7 was a movie that came out just earlier this year, Black Panther.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we actually just posted a review about this. Just a few months ago, because it only came out a few months ago.
Yeah, February.
So I would recommend going back and watching that. I feel like we don't need to say a whole lot about this.
Yeah,
because we've already kind of covered it on this channel.
Yeah, it was when Black Panther got introduced in Civil War. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's like interesting.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like churning for a movie. But as soon as the trailer started pumping out for Black Panther, I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, let me know more about this guy and where he's from. And it felt like something really different than anything Marvel done before, fresh, and it's so awesome. Good time. Yeah, if you want to learn more about that, we have a full review already up.
Yeah,
so check that out.
Yes.
But number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, number 2. Now, not as good as the first one.
I think the only reason I don't think it's as good as the first one, though, is because the first one was such a jolt of fresh energy that it couldn't, just being the second one, it couldn't help. You had already kind of seen it before, so you knew more what to expect. So, like, the first one was just so exciting.
Yeah, and this is, but, I mean, it explores the characters more, and it's the funniest Marvel movie, in my opinion, out of all of them. And the movie's so funny. The cast is so awesome. I love the cast of just that group in Guardians. And their chemistry with each other. And Volume 2 is just so funny. And it explored their adventures more. And like, oh, we're good guys kind of now. And let's do some good in the world. And I love the Guardians themselves, that group.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as good as the first, but it was still a really well-made, good entry.
And the new characters were good.
Oh, and the new characters they introduced, awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, you can't... It was never going to be as good as the first, but it's awesome. Loved it.
Okay. Our number 5 is Avengers Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
It's actually been quite a while since I've seen this movie.
I've seen a lot more recently.
I saw it in theaters and haven't since. So why don't you talk about it?
Age of Ultron was one I was after. Again, I saw Avengers. I was like, oh, Avengers is amazing. Like you can't like top that.
I thought this was more
And
exciting.
I saw Age of Ultron well past a couple years after it came out. Like I only saw it last year.
Yeah.
I caught up last year on Marvel.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like watching it. This movie is, I think, the first, in my opinion, of the MCU that has this sense of dread.
No, totally.
And this movie has it. Like you're watching it in the opening scene. You're watching them fight, and they're having a good time, but you just feel in the back of your head like, ooh.
This is
like,
the first one with like real dramatic stakes.
Yeah, this was the first one that I thought, whoa, okay, this is like. Yeah. Oh, all the Avengers are together, but how long is this gonna last? Like, you had this, everything in the movie felt way more personal than the first Avengers, and all the characters were way more developed. Yeah, and it was in my opinion, that's why it was so good. It was the first of the newer ones have had this stuff is gonna happen.
It's drama,
and this is the first one that had that real sense of drama. And I lapped it up. I was like, wow, this feels way more personal. The stakes are high. You know, that was the first time I watched a Marvel movie where I was like, oh my gosh, like people might die in this. And I was scared for, my heroes. But I'll introduce the next one then. Number 4, way back. We're going 10 years ago. Iron Man, the one that started it all.
OG.
And it's still one of the best. 10 years later, 18 films in, it's still one of the best. It just... They hit the hill right on the head the first time.
They couldn't have started it off on a better note.
No. Robert Downey Jr. making the comeback of a lifetime.
Well, he made the comeback in Tropic Thunder. Well, was that the same year? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. He made the comeback of a lifetime. Where Tropic Thunder, you're like, okay, this guy's an amazing, amazing actor. Robert Downey Jr., was chiseling away his star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame with just filming this movie. He is Tony Stark through and through.
I could not picture anyone else.
Nobody else could be Tony Stark except for Robert Downey Jr. He embodies the spirit and the soul of Iron Man, and he brought everything to life. And Jon Favreau, who I still feel like does not get enough credit for really launching this franchise. Yeah. And he, again,
Happy Hogan.
They hit the nail right on the head for the first time, and it's still one of the best.
Yeah. All right, number 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I think what this movie does better than any other Marvel movie is be a great action movie.
That is absolutely right. It's the best action movie.
It's a better action movie than it is a superhero movie.
Correct. And that's why it's so good. It's almost like a spy thriller.
Yeah, it is.
Instead of a superhero movie.
I love the chemistry that Captain America and Black Widow have together.
Yeah, and
so the two of them together is...
And then, it's his relationship with Bucky Barnes, and it works so well. Yeah. It feels like... And especially since Captain America isn't in the top half of the Marvel movies, so this was way better than the first one. The first one was a good time, but this was added stakes, and going into this, Steve Rogers became a way better character, and it's just there's so much going on. It feels like nothing like any of the other Marvel movies is like this one. This one has just its own singular stamp.
It's a great action movie, and I feel like not many of the Marvel movies really succeed in other genres other than a superhero movie. This one does. This is the best one, but our top 2 movies succeed in other genres as well.
Correct. Number 1.
Wait, hold on. We didn't even.
Oh, number 2. I'm sorry. I was sorry. Number 2. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember everybody was talking about this when it came out. I was like, oh my god, Guardians of the Galaxy is so good. I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. Yeah. Until now, this is really the only time I've ever been caught up on Marvel. So then I saw a year or 2 later, and as soon as the logo just came up during the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy, I said, wow, I freaking love this movie already. It took me like 10 seconds, and I was like, this movie's amazing, and it's so fresh. It is, oh my gosh, I love talking about this movie.
It felt like someone had like taken the energy and vibe from the original Star Wars and injected it into the MCU. That's what it felt like to me. Injected it into the MCU in the 21st century, and it was awesome.
It's so awesome. It's just like, it turned Chris Pratt into not just like, a sitcom star, but a legit superstar. Zoe Saldana is action goddess.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista became
so
not just Dave Bautista the wrestler, but Dave Bautista the actor. He still makes me laugh so hard in any movie he's in MCU.
Yeah.
Nobody makes me laugh as much as Drax the Destroyer. He just kills me. His comedic timing is so perfect for this role.
Yeah.
And nobody else could be Drax besides Dave Bautista. And then, of course, the Bradley Cooper, he's just oozes charisma.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh. And then, Vin Diesel's just pumping it out,
Yeah.
It's just, it's so different than anything Marvel had done before. And
absolutely.
I will feel the same way about it every time I watch it for the first time. It's so good. Love it. And then our number one. So our number 1 and 2 were exactly the same.
Yeah, so we both had Guardians of the Galaxy at number 2, and this movie we both had at number 1. I was maybe a little surprised that you had it at number 1, but I make this like everyone knows at this moment.
I know, and I was like, going into it, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's going to live up, but it's so good. SpiderMan Homecoming. Oh my gosh. Like, everyone was just counting down the days, like, is Marvel what's going on with Sony? What's going on with Spider-Man? Like, are we ever going to find peace in this world? And then Marvel got their hands on Spider-Man and Peter Parker and just turned in a movie that every single one of us wanted. And it was perfect. It's so perfect.
So much.
And it's so funny because it made you look back on everything Spider-Man had been before. It made you look back at Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire franchises, and you just went, wow, like, Spider-Man has been missing so much.
Yeah.
Like, they skipped over high school in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and like 10 minutes into this, I'm like, oh my gosh, Spider-Man, like, belongs in high school. Like,
this is a great, like, coming-of-age high school movie. On top of being a great superhero movie.
Absolutely. Tom Holland is superstar.
He is so amazing.
He is so good.
He's so incredible.
He is so just everything. He embodies everything. He has like the wit. He has the almost the innocence.
He feels like a teenager. Yes, the innocence is a great word. He just like has these like big eyes that he's looking at the world with.
Yeah.
And like the world is with all these new possibilities added on. It just he's a kid in a proverbial candy store.
And it works because they knew like we can use him as like a vessel for like anybody that watches these movies and is like, oh my gosh, what would it feel like if I'm fighting next to Thor on my left and Captain America on my right, and they turned Spider-Man into like a vessel for like
because he was like a fan of the Avengers and then became one.
And it's like a fan of the child in each one of us and what we wanted to be in this universe. Even the opening again, it was just like Guardians of the Galaxy. That opening like home video of his, I was laughing so hard. And I was loving every second of it.
I love this movie.
And it starts it off, it shoots Spider-Man out of a cannon, and he just flies for miles. It's so good.
Peter Parker is my favorite character in the MCU.
And I was nervous too. I was like, like they're going to be shoving Iron Man, like Tony Stark in this, but it works so well.
Yeah.
He's like the mentor to him, and they have this really interesting interaction and chemistry. And it added something to Tony as well. So it's just it has it's one of the best.
Yeah, I would say even if you are
another 10 years from now after we
it's gonna hold up.
It's gonna hold up after another 15 of these Marvel movies. I will be shocked if we get at least any two movies that are better than Spider-Man Homecoming.
And Hallelujah, it wasn't an origin story.
No, yeah, that finally, they got that right too. Dear.
Okay. I feel like there was something I wanted to add, but maybe not. Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming. I was gonna say, even if you're not someone who's related to superhero movies or the MCU, I feel like Spider-Man Homecoming you can enjoy on its own. You won't quite get everything, but you could enjoy it as a solo.
There are some. Those are the best ones. The Iron Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther. The four of those itself, you can just pick up and watch. Mm-hmm. If you want to see any of those movies and I'm behind, just pick it up and watch it. They're all awesome. Like Paige, my fiance, I got her to watch Iron Man. That's like all she's seen. But I know she wants to see Black Panther, and I will show her Black Panther at some point. She really wants to see it. Yeah.
So that's it.
That's our top 10 Marvel movies as of right now.
I will say, we'll just say that I think we can agree that that Infinity War would be solidly in the top 5.
Yeah. And we're gonna do a full review. We're gonna do, letting you guys know, it's gonna be partially non-spoiler, and then we're gonna go into spoiler territory. So
we'll talk about that.
In that review, we will talk about it, and but that is coming up, and we're also Rampage. We got a review for Rampage coming up very soon as well.
Well, that will have already been posted.
What? I'm trying to, yeah, I guess so. Anyway.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
See you guys.